What's up, everybody? This is the Refined Trader back with another video. And today we're gonna go ahead and do a breakdown for a trade I took on Monday on a live stream. And it was a bit unfortunate that we got taken out. And also there's something else that happened later on. And I want to show you guys what happened so you guys also can take the lesson from it. And yeah, without further ado, let's just go ahead and start the breakdown. So if you guys really check Monday, if you really check this daily open, again, we're using the replay tool. So that daily candle already printed. But if you really check, today still supports expansion by that wick. We traded below a relevant swing, which is Friday's low. We opened somewhere in here from the low, started expanding higher. So ideally the draw for Monday was that Friday high, or maybe like Thursday high, even though it's a little bit far away, but like the most ideal target is like Friday's high. Dropping down on 4 hour. So looking at NQ's same, NQ doesn't really support expansion compared to ES and YM, but YM is like the cleanest. So if you guys really check on a 4 hour, this is 1400, so we need to go back to 6 a.m. because I only traded the 10 a.m. candle, so just gonna go to 6 a.m. to show you guys what happened there. So again, this is that Thursday's high, and this is that Friday's high, and this is that Thursday's high. So if you really check, this is daily open, opened low, and then just started trading higher. Looking at it like the daily low, it haven't really been formed off of a relevant swing, but the other fact that the current price is far away from the daily open, also the current low of the day. Now I can anticipate that this low might be protected and I might just start seeing higher prices. We don't have any valid SMTs there. Like maybe you can kind of justify ES from irrelevant swings to kind of give you some confidence. But for YM, there's not really anything. Also NQ, kind of swap that level and then we continue. So on NQ and ES, kind of the low of day formed a lot better compared to YM, but YM we had to set up on YM. So if you really check, this is like a C2, C3. This is not a, again, this most likely is like C3. So we just start expanding higher. I don't really want to go against the daily, and we still have an open draw, which is the current high of day. So I would be willing to trade something like this, or somewhere in here. So either that 10 a.m. opens, pushes higher, and within that 10 a.m. range, we'll have like a new invalidation level that we can trade away from, or the open low for that 10 a.m. trade within that 6 a.m. range into a new invalidation level and then continue higher. So that was like the whole perspective for me, and especially the NQ. And again, if we want to take shorts, ideally we want to see NQ reversing off of the highs, also yes, reversing off of the highs, and you could be looking at this current range and you're like, oh, this is overextended, we might get some shorts. And yeah, with proper confirmation with the two-stage cracking correlation, in that case I would go against the daily, but again, it needs to look a bit higher probably. Also, we traded above relevant swings. Like this is Friday and also Thursday's high, so we traded above two relevant swings. So if price wants to reverse, this is the area we'll do it from. If not, and we see a failure to manipulate, and if we see a failure to manipulate on ES and NQ, that would lead us with the idea that probably YM is going to catch up to that same high, at least to the high or the next high. Because if we fail to reverse off of one of these irrelevant swings, so we got ES traded into the level, NQ traded into the level, and now this gap is holding. So we got a bearish key level, bearish key level, bearish key level to drive price lower. So this is the time if price wants to reverse. So if it doesn't reverse from here, then probably we'll say failure to manipulate on NQ and ES. We still got open draws here. That's still need to get taken some point later on. So that would give us time for YM to catch up to the high. So by the time either NQ kind of ranges and then trades slower, it will give YM time to expand. So that was like the whole idea. This is the 6 a.m. So I was kind of one-sided narrative. Like I will be open for shorts, but I need to see my two-stage current correlation. If not, I want to see a failure to manipulate on NQ and ES to then be able to take that one. So dropping down on hourly, price has been just expanding. So there's like no new swing formation here, which is something I don't want to do. So in that case, again, if you really check, we just traded above a minor high. This is not like the cleanest of highs. Like you might even map out the high, which price kind of failed to take. But looking at hourly, there's no new swing to position myself. Looking on 30-minute, again, same. There's nothing real here. I haven't traded into that level, so the only thing I can do, we do have a swing here by the way. This is 930. But now price has just expanded. We have just traded into the level. So what do I want to see first? Like a failure to manipulate to be able to kind of trade the open low of 10 a.m. I'm not just gonna take it directly because look, incurred traded into relevant swing, yes, traded into relevant swing. So what I was waiting for, probably some sort of new swing formation here. I did not get any entry because this is that next draw. If I wanted to take that one, I wouldn't get my 2R that I look for. So I would put my stop at the body, so I wouldn't be able to get my 2R for the next draw, which is like so close. So that's why I waited. So what do we have now? Again, what do I tell you guys? Within that 6 a.m., you'll probably find a key level that's going to support price higher. And then in that case, if you really check, this is kind of that 6 a.m. range. The next level is this gap. So, because if you really check, we had a tiny gap here, right? It kind of formed that 930 low and didn't form the new relevant swing, new invalidation level. So that's when I took my trade. And if you guys really check, what do we have? Price traded into the level. And what did it do? What do we formed? A two-stage cracking correlation. And not only that, this one closes as a C2. So that's when we trade above a key level, what do we have? A new phase of price. New phase of price, which in that case was the retracement. So we have expansion met with retracement. And now we have that two-stage cracking correlation, which supports now that new phase of price, that is expansion. We're trading away. We just formed the low of 10 a.m. So now I'm trading away from the low of 10 a.m., which is the whole GxT thing. So if you want to trade GxT, you want to profile the low or the high of the candle. So in that case, we're profiling the low of that 4-hour candle with the fact that, with the anticipation that NQ failed to manipulate because we traded above a relevant swing and we still got a two-stage to the upside. So now I'm not really going to trade this asset that is expanding already. I'm just going to go ahead and take that one that retraced. Why? Because it's just a lot cleaner. The draw is a lot cleaner. Price retraced from a new validation level. 10 a.m. still haven't expanded, so there's a lot of room for expansion. And we have this clean close proximity target, or you can go for the next high because now we failed to manipulate that one. We're probably just gonna disrespect that one and go to the next. So that was where I entered. So if you really check, we got that C2 closure. So now we got the SMT, and if you're on the second stage, then you'll have to wait for the PSP to close, and that's what we got. So that's the two stage. The first stage is the SMT. This one is put in higher high. This one is lower high, and then the PSP. So that's when I went dropped down to 3 minute. And if you really check on the 30 minute, if you really check, this is kind of that AQ. So ideally, I want price to kind of trade within the AQ of the range, which is somewhere in here. So this was my entry. So let me just take that off. So ideally, you want to kind of see a price start trading higher from somewhere in here, ideally. But with proper, again, if you have lower time frame confirmation, just a little bit lower, that's also fine. So that's what we got. We got a deep retracement. Again, these white candles are the PSP. So let me just take that off. Precision swing points. Let me take that off. So we got a new swing, and I was like, okay, maybe this is the time. So kind of just respected the AQ. I was like, maybe this is the time to see ISD to 10 look to trade higher. And also, we were respecting this tiny gap. But what happened next is a candle traded lower, and then price started trading higher. So, and if you really check, we kind of got this lower time frame order block. I'm not really going to use this one. I'm just going to use this whole sell to buy. And if you really check, we still traded within the upper half of the candle of the order block. So I was waiting just now for the CISD to take my trade. And what happened next is this. We got a closure. So I took a market execution here. But the problem that I did, instead of going with the body, instead of going with the low, I went with the body, even though there is not a clean expansion here. So that was like a mistake from my part. And I was going for the high, if I do remember. Yeah, I was going for the high. So it was like a 2.5 R trade. I was like, oh, that's fine. Like, there's no need to hold for that one because that was like an M15 high, I guess. Yeah, it was like an M15 high. And it was like, I already just go for 2R. This one is giving me 2.5, so that's perfect. I just need the market execution. I don't need the retest. If I want to look for a retest, that's 4R. And I might miss the trade. So I had a market execution there. Now let me just go ahead and do the buy sell buttons. I did a buy here, put my stop here. And what I did, the mistake that I told you guys is the following. So when I took a market execution, what do you guys know? What do you guys do on Tradeovate? You add the sell stop, like you add the sell stop here and the sell limit here, right? And you add the sell limit. And the problem is I took off orders. If you go to settings, I took off this position on orders while I was in a position. So I ended up just having the execution marks, and I forgot, and I totally forgot. So let me show you guys what happened. So when you have position on orders, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put like a sell limit here. So I had I got in with the contractor. I guess I got in with the contractor too. No, I got in with the 3 contracts. I'm not really sure, I forgot. But I'm just gonna go ahead and put this screenshot right now. So what ended up happening is price literally took me out. I was like, that's fine, that's my mistake. Price started expanding higher. And then, if you guys really check sell limit, I did have this off. And I totally forgot to take it off. So what ended up happening is price keep trading higher. And I got tagged on a sell here without me realizing. This was like, I was off charts here. And I got back to the charts somewhere here when we had like an expansion candle. To open my trade of 8, so I took like a $500 loss here. And that was like, okay, that was my part. I did not put my stop in the new invalidation level, which is the low. So now I got swept. That's all right, minus 500. And I ended up taking like 2 contracts or a contract. I don't really remember the amount. But the only thing I remember is I closed the trade literally at this candle for a minus $750 again. So my mistake is taking this off. Never, ever take positions on orders. Because I was live streaming, I was like, you know what, let me take it off. But that's a mistake from my part. And yeah, I learned it the hard way. Yeah, it was literally $700. Okay, so I got in with 3 contracts. Now I remember. Because it was $750 somewhere in here. So I ended up taking the $500 here, like $550 L, and here like $750. So I ended up taking a $1,200 loss. So let me guys show the Discord. So this is the Discord. If you guys haven't joined already, you can go ahead guys and join. So this is what ended up happening. So I got in here with 3 contracts. I got out. Again, this is all live. And then I got executed here, and then I got taken out here. Then I closed the order here. I was like, holy, I forgot. So yeah, I was like minus 1200, and I almost blew the account. If I didn't check the charts by then, look what happened next. I could have been like down 1500 with that 5, and I could have blown the account. So that would have been really, really unfortunate. So yeah, I hope you guys learned from my mistake. And in that case, so it was a bit of bad management from my side. It could have been like a really easy clean 2R. And there was another entry here with that 2-stage PSP. So let me turn on the PSP. There was a 2nd stage PSP here, which is an SMT fail. If you really check, we got the SMT here. We got the gap, and look at what is it? NQ shader below. Also ES shader below. So that's like an SMT fail with the CIST here. So you could have taken that one too. Take that one. Stops at a low. Stop here. Both of them would have given you 2R to that low. Or you can go for the next relevant draw, which is here. Which I think we did get to it later on. But it just took some time. Yep, we did get to it. So that could have been like an absolute banger day. So, but yeah, for my rules, I just take 1 trade. And yeah, so I hope you guys found this beneficial. Yeah, that's it. If you guys haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the thumbs up. And join the Discord. And yeah, see you guys soon. Take care.